So recently when my family took a quick little trip to Hawaii, I had to decide what I was actually going to bring on this trip. And I wanted to keep it a lot more minimal and didn't want to overcomplicate things. So this is what I think is pretty much the ultimate travel setup that gives you the most versatility and the most enjoyment out of any possible camera combinations that I could get. So in this bag, which is from Clever Supply Co., I brought everything that I would use for all of my possible photographic endeavors. Try to make it really, really simple and as kind of cohesive as possible. Now, I did bring two cameras, one specifically for video and one specifically for photo, and even that turned out to be a little bit overkill, so could definitely probably get away with, let's say, maybe just bringing the A7 IV or something next time. But both of the cameras that I brought are inspiring to me, make me want to pick them up. I really, really enjoy them. So you'll obviously figure out, and I'm sure you could guess which cameras I brought. So for stills, wanted to just make it as simple as possible. Brought the X100V. I tossed a 5% Cinebloom filter on there, as well as the little handle here or small grip. I did bring a small handheld kind of tripod just in case I wanted to do any long exposures or film something, but I just decided, you know, I was on vacation, or I guess more of like a trip. If you have young kids, it's not really a vacation. They're always more like trips. But had this little grip as well as the square hood Model P, I believe. And this was also the only camera strap I brought. So most of the time, I didn't even use a camera strap. If I was going out and I only was going to take some photos, then I would use the strap here. But a lot of times if I brought the bag, I would just put each camera in its own spot, and then that was it. The second camera was the Sony FX3, and while I did include and keep this grip on here as well, you know, just like I did with the X100V, it's mainly because it has this little hand grip here, so it just makes things a little bit easier. You don't have to really worry about dropping it or anything like that. And then on here is the 24mm f2.8 G lens. This thing is incredibly small and lightweight. I also find 24mm just a really, really good focal length for just general walk around filming kind of stuff. Sony's clear image zoom does a pretty good job if I wanted to zoom in for anything, which I never ended up doing. And one of my favorite focal lengths is 28mm. And when you use the active stabilization on this camera, it gets you in that like 26 to 28mm-ish range. It's definitely not scientific, but it feels like it's in that range. So it was a really, really easy play to just bring these two cameras. The only other piece of kit, I guess there's two pieces, was this little ECM B10. Just, again, super simple. It just slides right on there and is a really, really good sounding microphone. If you have any of the newer Sony cameras that have the digital hot shoe, I guess multi-interface shoe thing here, this is kind of like the mid-range of these. It's the cheaper version. It's not like the B1M or whatever. It's the B10. And honestly, this thing is just a joy to have on there. Really small and lightweight, compact, all that kind of stuff. And I just love having no cables. So all of the footage from this video was filmed on this camera. All the stills were filmed, or I guess taken, with the X100V. And the only other thing that I had other than these two cameras was the 49mm variable ND filter that's currently being used to help me film this video and get like a decent exposure as well. So enough talking about the cameras themselves. They're great, and I have videos, plenty of videos on both of them. Let's check out what the images and the videos look like, and I guess I can give you my final thoughts on whether or not I feel like this was a good choice to use these two cameras in particular. So overall, I mean, bringing two of my absolute favorite cameras was kind of a no-brainer for me. The X100V, it just looks good. It takes fantastic little images. It's funny because I haven't used 35mm in a long time, so it felt a little bit tight, but I wanted to keep kind of going with it. I used to love that focal length and I've kind of become a little bit bored with it lately, but obviously for a general walk around use, it's fantastic. Especially having the filter on made me not really worry about getting sand on it, stuff like that. And I just toss it in this bag that just kind of looks like a regular bag, doesn't necessarily look like a camera bag. Easily be able to fit both of these cameras vertically. And obviously the Sony FX3 is an incredible camera. It has amazing dynamic range. And especially when you're outdoors, you know, in Hawaii, stuff like that, I'm not needing more than f2.8 anyway. And even if I did, the high ISO at 12,800 on this is unbelievable. So being able to have a legitimately, I mean, you can argue with me if you want, but like a cinema camera in this small of a form factor that can fit into a bag this small with that type of lens. And you can see too that like sometimes you're shoving cameras in places like I am right here because there's too many batteries in this particular spot, but like they just slide right in. It's no big deal. I can just carry around this bag and have an amazing stills camera, an amazing, you know, video filming camera, and be able to legitimately just enjoy myself, not worrying about carrying around too much gear, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to check out more on the X100V, you can check that out up here. Check out more on the FX3 right here, and I will see you in one of those videos.